Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to have the opportunity to address such a distinguished audience. My name is Xingqiao Wang. I'm come from the Northeast Yucai Academic School. Today we are going to talk about the COVID-19 in China. As we all know, the global outbreak began in December 2019, founded in Wuhan, China first. Here, we will not discuss the source and the transmission route of the new coronavirus. Our focus is on how China responded to the outbreak and make quick decisions to minimize its impact. Here, I will explore this issue from two perspectives. First, the early stage of the outbreak did not show symptoms different from those other flu strains. A lot of people don't pay much attention to this virus. Eventually, the patient coughed and suffered minor bleeding, which led to the hospital's official attention. As a result, the hospital finally established the existence of COVID-19 through the nucleic acid testing and other means. Therefore, the Chinese government had taken the following measure to control the spread of the epidemic. Lock down the city, isolate people, and track everyone's course of action and do some medical observation of people who have been high-risk areas. Wuhan is officially closed at 10 a.m. on January 23rd in 2020. At this time, flights, railways, road, shipping, and other modes of transport such as subway, bus, taxi, and what else, are all stopped to ensure that the minimum number of potential carriers of the virus through the various mode of transportation to spread the virus. Many people would have questions. If Wuhan is not closed, how many infected people will be? Due to limited data, I will present my view in form of the mathematical models. This is a mathematical model of number of people infected inside Wuhan. If we use the 10-period distribution curve and the increasing incidence curve of returning people in Wuhan, can we estimate the daily number of monomia carriers and the conversation rate from carriers to patients before the closure of Wuhan? For example, the distribution of F of returned people in Wuhan with a date of T is calculated from the publicly released cases, which would be equivalent to the daily distribution of new carriers before Wuhan was closed. Now, we assume that the total population is constant. Knowing the distribution C of their onset data, we can reverse the distribution of infection data of returning people in Wuhan. The onset date distribution C is the convolution of infection data distribution E to the latency distribution L. Here is the equation. What this equation means is that the number of people who got sick today is equal to the number who got infected 10 days ago, times the probability that incubation period is 10 days. At number of people infected before 9 days, time the probability that the incubation period is 9 days, and so on. So, do a convolution. Conversely, the inflection date distribution E is the deconvolution of the incidence date distribution C and the incubation period distribution L. And here is the equation. The above calculation does not make into account the difference in the number of floating people from Wuhan to various places. According to the difference in distribution F of returning people in various localities, as well as the number of new cases per day. Attention, that is not the cases with the new confirmed patient per day. It should be possible to determine a constant between the distribution of new and new daily numbers. Here, survival distribution functions are named as follows. First, the latency distribution function is L, where T is the number of days from inflection to onset. Second, the number of floating people from Wuhan to a certain place, N, where T is the day when the population flows from. Third, each morning population in Wuhan, M, can also be considered as a constant 10 millions. Fourth, the number of new carriers per day before closure of Wuhan, E, which can be parameterized as E equals E0 plus K power of T, where E0 is the number of carriers from a certain day, K is the daily average number of individual infected, also known as the multiplier, and K should be greater than 1 before closure. You should also be able to calculate E without using parameterized forms. Fifth, the daily distribution of new incidents of returning people in Wuhan, C, statistics of confirmed case in a certain place, the number of returning Wuhan people with onset date, T. At last, carrier to patient conversion rate B, assume that B is the constant greater than 0 and less than 1. Of the above distribution functions, only E and B are unknown. All the other quantities can be counted. To sum up, for a new outbreak of the city, the best choice is to lock down the entire territory, just like the movie called Resident Evil. But unlike the movie, we did not abandon the entire city to ruin, but instead rely on the resources of low-risk area across the country to rescue Wuhan. Well, I'm going to explore this point carefully. Above, we discuss how countries should implement a city closure policy in the early stage of an epidemic. But how will the people of the city survive after the city is sealed? In this regard, China has adopted 3 policies to support Wuhan by giving the labors, building materials, and daily necessities. First, China set up an anti-epidemic team selected from all over the country to form a medical team and supported Wuhan. Well, not all the experts will be sent to Wuhan. That is because, other parts of the country also have various carriers. Although the number is small, they still need experienced experts to treat them. Take Shenyang, for example. The first support team sent by Shenyang Hospital consists of 137 people. There are 2 team leaders, while the remaining 135 are divided into 15 teams, each with 6 doctors and 3 nurses. A total of 19 provinces participate in the support. Accumulate until the February 20th in 2020, a total of 255 teams of 32,573 healthcare workers have been sent to support Wuhan. They were assigned to different hospitals for support. Experts are able to observe the symptoms and effect of the virus for the first time, so speeding up the control of outbreaks and development of other medical treatments, such as vaccine. Unfortunately, there is no specific data after that. According to the news, hospitals in Wuhan are full capacity, so not many experts will come to the city next. What is more, China has sent a lot of resources to Wuhan in order to better shelter the various carriers, including building materials, medical equipment, infrastructure equipment, and so on. The most famous belong to the shelter hospital established in Wuhan. Attention, the shelter hospitals built in Wuhan are quite different from the shelter hospital in the military. In the military, shelter hospitals are spliced together from survival compartments, just like the space station. However, the shelter hospitals in Wuhan are a question of some public facilities, such as the stadiums, railway station, and so on, and lay some bed here. Well, there are about 10 beds in one unit, with small panels between each bed. A wall was built between each unit, and corridors were laid between them. As the Wuhan shelter is built in public facilities, so each unit will not pave with ceiling and lighting facilities. Venting, lighting are all completed with public facilities. There were 16 shelter hospitals have been set up in Wuhan, and 15 were in use. Basically, a construction cycle of 29 hours, and people spend 3 weeks in total to complete the construction. Each shelter hospitals can accommodate 1,000 patients, and all hospitals can accommodate 15,000 patients. There are 2 special hospitals in Wuhan, the Thunder God Mountain Hospital and the Fire God Mountain Hospital. Unlike the normal shelter hospitals, the Fire God Mountain and the Thunder God Mountain Hospital has more completed medical facilities. These 2 hospitals were built in 39 days by the 35,000 workers, and these 2 hospitals are more fully equipped. For example, the higher group donated electrical appliances to those 2 hospitals. The New Soft Medical Technology Company donated 3 CT signs to the hospitals, and the Medinary Health Technology Company donated monitors to the hospitals. Finally, in order to solve the shortage daily necessities and the food resources caused by the closure of Wuhan, the Chinese people actively donate a lot of food, such as fresh vegetables, meat, and condiments. Inner Mongolia supported Wuhan with 600 tons of milk and meat, including 400 tons of beef, pork, and what else? And 200 tons of milk. Sichuan supported Wuhan with 6 tons of vegetables, and Henan donated 40 tons of processed meat to Wuhan. All the cities donated some living materials to Wuhan. As the requirement by the government, the materials were received by the Red Cross Society and distributed by staff according to the number of residents population in Wuhan. To summarize, for a country with a large population, lock down cities, isolate people, and do the nuclear exit testing are the best means to control the epidemic. After this meeting, I will continue to study the subject and make statistics. I always believe that under the continuing effort of human beings, COVID-19 will eventually become a history and no longer bother people's life. That's all. Thanks for listening.